everybody, Peggy O'Neill here for Chapter 2 on Building Empathy as Your Next Superpower. Okay, today we're going to talk about listening, and to kick it off, I'm going to quote Stephen Covey in that great quote when he says, "Seek not to be understood, but rather to understand." So this is the whole sort of background, or like sets the foundation for listening. And you might think that listening is something that you've been doing since the day you were born, which is true. And like anything, there's a spectrum, and sometimes there's things that we're sort of good at, really good at, and things that we master. And today I'm going to give you several tips so that you can go from wherever you are to the next level, and to continue to build that skill till you master it, till you master the skill of listening, because it's very, very key in all your relationships, but especially in those empathetic encounters. So the first thing that we want to do when somebody comes to us who's troubled, frustrated, down on their luck, having a hard time, crying, frustrated, whatever it is, whether it's an adult or a child, at home or at work, what we can first do is just to make an intention to come present. We can sense our arms and our legs, can feel our feet on the ground or feel our butt on the chair. Sensing our body will help us to come present. Looking, observing what's happening, what we can see, and then also listening to the words. So sensing, looking, and listening help us to sort of condense our power of presence. And in that power of presence, we're able to connect more authentically with another person. So that's why we wanted to become more present. So first one is to become more present. Second thing that we can do is to move from our head to our heart. So yeah, I mean, I was so amazed when I learned that the wisdom center of the mind, job is to dissect and discern and discriminate. It's like all this dicing up kind of stuff. And that actually the wisdom center of the heart has a whole different function. And its function is to create unity. Its function is to connect. So when we're practicing empathy, we want to actually have access to the part of our self that allows us to experience a connection with another person, and that comes from our heart. So we can just make a brief intention, take a deep breath, maybe close your eyes. As you breathe in, imagine your attention coming right down into your heart and feeling your heart open up, and then you'll have more heart presence, it's capacity to allow the other person to feel that you're really with them, and actually you'll feel more connected with the other person. The third thing that we're going to do is to really pay attention. Really pay attention to what's happening. So not just listening to the words, but paying attention to the whole gestalt of what's happening. So they're using a certain tone of voice, a volume of voice. They're using certain words. They're having certain emotions. All of that is trying to communicate something about probably a need that's not being met. So you can listen beyond the words, under the words. You can listen with your body. You can listen with your ears and with your eyes. Listen with all of that will really enhance, give you much more information than if you're just sort of like looking at your phone or thinking about dinner tonight or that kind of thing as you're there in the same space as another person who's having a difficult time. So really paying attention. The next thing that you can do is to be listening to what's going on underneath the words and seeing if you can identify what the person is needing or wanting. And you may have heard from or read from some of my other materials where I very clearly state that when people's needs are met, they're happy, and when people's needs are not met, they're not happy. So if somebody's having difficulty, it means some need is not being met. So you can listen to what's going on underneath, and you can ask yourself, what is it that this person's really wanting or needing? And just identify that. And as they do, later on, you can help them identify, but not actually while you're listening. That's not when that comes in. But you can remark it to yourself and say, oh, what this person really wants is a more personal relationship with our boss. So, okay, that's pretty clear, and we could probably make a plan about that. So, but we don't say that right then. We just listen, take it all in. So we're going to come present. We're going to move from our head to our heart. We're going to really pay attention. We're going to identify what the person is wanting or needing. And the next thing that we're going to do is, actually we could do this all the way through, is put on our giraffe ears. And this comes from nonviolent communication taught by Marshall Rosenberg. And in NVC, we have two kinds of ears. One are like jackal ears that attack, and we shame and blame other people, and we interrupt, and we try to fix things, and we try to control. Those are jackal ears. And giraffe ears are like giraffe. So just think in your mind's eye about a giraffe, how incredibly big and how incredibly peaceful and just how present and royal and regal they are, and how much contentment they carry inside of them. And that's what we want to bring when we're mastering the skill of listening, when we're wanting to build our empathy muscle. We bring this quality of deep peace and presence in our capacity to just listen and receive the words, receive the meaning, and receive what's underneath what they're saying. So we're going to put on our giraffe ears. And another thing that we can do that is really powerful when we want to bring empathy to another person is to recap. So how do we recap? Well, first we listen really well. We listen so well that we're able to repeat to the person what they just said. So when they pause, you can say something like, so let me see if I got it straight. And then you repeat in a couple, 2, 3 sentences what you heard them say. It's a short synopsis. It doesn't add anything. It maybe leaves a couple of things out, but it hits the main points. And if you're right, the person, it will be amazing. The person's heart will just like, oh my gosh, this person heard me, they understand me, they care about me, and some whole amazing type of connection happens when we're able to recap to other people, because they actually feel heard and seen and valued. If you're not correct in what you say, the other person will say, well, it's sort of like, yeah, a little bit you got, but let me see if actually this is what I was saying. And then they'll repeat and they'll say again. And then when they're done, you can say something like, well, let me see if I got it right this time. And you'll recap your few sentences and see what they say. So all of these are really powerful tools to use in your listening, and I want you to go out there and use them when you're listening to whomever, and especially if somebody comes to you with difficulties. Remember to come present in your body. Sense your arms and legs. Look, listen. Move from your head to your heart. Pay attention. Really pay attention to what's going on in the whole situation. See if you can identify what they're wanting and needing. Put on your giraffe ears. Don't interrupt. Don't go off on a tangent. Stay present with them with that peaceful, royal presence. And also recap. Let them know that you understood and heard what they were saying. Okay, guys, practice as much as you can. Build that empathy muscle, and I'll see you on the next video, which is about inquiring. So long for now.